Good evening, everyone. It is 7 p.m. on October 11th. We're calling this meeting to order. First up on our agenda are the Emergency Responder Monthly Reports. Honolulu Fire Department, do we have you online? HFD? Not seeing them. We'll circle back if they do come to us. Honolulu Police Department, HPD?
Evening, board. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, mahalo.
Hi. Good evening, Lieutenant Sanford Yu. I'll present the stats for September. Basically, no change in crime. 1 motor vehicle theft, no burglaries, 5 quote-unquote normal thefts, 2 car break-ins, and no robberies. Unchanged from the prior month. I'll be willing to answer any questions at this time.
Mahalo. Board members, any questions? Uncle Cliff, and then Auntie Rocky.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How can I curb these guys from doing wheelies on this road up here?
What
I
are they
understand- on
operating?
Waihe Road,
What are they operating?
right on our road. The policeman sits in a park and just looking.
No, what
You
are
get-
they operating, these people?
You get mopeds and these homemade bikes and everything that the guys no more license for. All underage people. And the adults are doing wheelies. It's about 4, sometimes 5 o'clock in the afternoon when people coming home. They pass them on a fly doing wheelies.
I'll put in to have more enforcement, time pending, but be aware that those e-bikes or those electric bikes, there's no regulation surrounding them. So we cannot do any enforcement, unfortunately.
No, this is regular mopeds.
Yeah. So
We
we'll
watch
look
them
for those.
all day long and they say, oh, what? This is waiting for somebody to get road rash and just wishing for the best of it.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how much I like these people around here. They're doing this kind of road rash thing. You're traveling on the road, even in Kaneohe. You travel down the road, you see this guy passing you on the fly doing wheelies on a moped.
Mhm.
And probably those bikes are stolen.
The problem too is when we try to stop them, they run, yeah, and we cannot chase them.
Oh, but like Kahaluu, they do them on this road. All you gotta do is one officer come from the back road. It's because they get back road here. You cannot come up here and with your blue lights on because soon they see the blue light. That's it. We cannot, same old question. Can't do nothing. We never see them.
Mhm.
The same
We'll try
old
to
music
do-
we hear.
We'll try to do more enforcement, but stopping those mopeds, they all know we cannot chase them, so they run away, yeah. So
No,
it's
like
very,
this
it's very
Kahaluu,
difficult.
Waihe Road, you can come up to, one come up on the back way, one come, actually just 2, you can come into the back. Once
Yeah,
you
but
trap them in the middle, that's it.
They're going on the sidewalk. They're going to weave around our car.
And
We
they run
try.
through the school too.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try, but they
That's-
run away.
Yeah.
We cannot pursue, yeah. Not for a violation.
But I think if they sit in a park with the lights off, I think we'll be better off. Because now you're just telling I'm here. You're advertising, but we don't need that advertising. We know what's going on in here because these guys doing wheelies all over the place. Late at nights too with their car. They do donuts on the road, and the speed bump that they put doesn't help.
Mhm.
Okay, mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Mahalo, HPD. Auntie Rocky.
Aloha, mai kako. First of all, I'd like to thank the police department for doing such a wonderful job on the weekends. When we call up and you guys are ticketing people that's tires are way over the sidewalk and hard for the buses to pass near the Heiakea Pier. It's getting more and more cars over there. And I know you guys got to go out of your way when you get calls from people, the general public, but mahalo for that. And then I have a question also. I know there's a noise law with the mopeds and the sounds, because we hear it all the time. We live across the Heiakea Pier, And like Clifford says, they do spin outs in the pier on regular basis, late at night. No sense calling the police. You guys are busy because by the time the police come, they're gone. But there's a homeless camp, in Hiakia, and there's homeless people living on the side of the road. And every night, like about every night, almost every single night, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's this one guy there. He makes homemade whips out of the cow bush, and he cracks it as loud as he can. It's so irritating. One night, my granddaughter came home from a party. She was so irritated she couldn't sleep. She went down the road, and she called the police, and she confronted the guy and told him, "Stop doing that." But he told her, "We don't own the road," but he's right. But the point is, he doesn't own the road either, and he's disturbing the peace. Plus, all of his opala. I feel sorry for the homeless. Homeless can go wherever they want, but they should pick up their opala. When they leave the opala, now it's getting more and more rubbish. If you look, you can get um, grocery baskets now. I saw 3 on the side of the road with opala in it. If they're going to be homeless, they should be able to keep that area clean, but it's getting more and more opala on the road. So I hope maybe the police can come and check it out once in a while. They're already building tree houses in the trees on the shoreline.
Yeah, unfortunately, that jurisdiction falls outside of us. But as far as the gentleman with the whip, if he's making a noise, nuisance, please call 911. Don't go confront him yourself. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yeah.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Uncle Ken, I see you online.
Yeah, this is regarding Clifford's comment. What if a video was made of them and then that is a means of enforcement? People use it on their houses. They use it everywhere. It's very common now. If the police department could look into using video there in the Hi'iakia Pier area, a number of areas. I'm sorry to get into the video state, but hey, if that's the only way you can enforce the law and people are being inconvenienced by these shenanigans, then hey, use video. It's technology available. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only time we can use video is for fireworks enforcement. We have to witness the actual violation in order to issue any type of citation, unless it's fireworks related. That's the only time we're allowed to.
Okay, so what you're saying is we need to get legislation to allow you to increasingly use video when all other means fail.
Yes, sir.
So we need legislation to support the use of video, just like it was, because you couldn't do it with fireworks a while back until legislation was passed. So we need legislation to work on it. Thank you very much. Appreciate your service.
Yes, sir.
Mahalo, Uncle Ken. Uncle Dan, and then Auntie Rocky, and then we're going to move on.
I just want to thank the police for being in the park, because what's happening is what's not happening. So this is kind of, it's hard to prove the point because it didn't happen. But on Saturday afternoon and on Sunday afternoon between 3 and 5 o'clock, people go there and they change their oil, they take apart cars, their motorcycle gangs, there are all kinds of things that just won't happen if your officer, all he has to do is sit there. And I walked over and I said, thank you very much. I don't care what you're doing, just your presence on site tells people that they can't exchange money for drugs. And that's the kind of stuff that happens on that parking lot. So just thank you very much for being on that parking lot, just letting your guys stay there.
Which parking lot is that, sir?
The one closest to the Key project, it's at Waihe Road and Kamehameha Highway.
Waihe, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's perfect that they're there. And oftentimes there could be 2 of them. And it doesn't matter, just the physical presence of their being there. We have no idea what would go on, but we know, because I walk there every night, and it's truly frightening. If you really can't use the park unless there's some coverage. But thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Auntie Rocky.
Okay, I know. I don't know if it's in you guys' jurisdiction, but a few times I hear gunshots coming from in the mountain area, and I feel, again, no sense calling the police, but it's getting kind of spooky when it gets closer to where you're living. And I know it's guns because my kids know it. They go to the shooting range out in Mokapu, and then they said, "Wow, you heard that?" And last night, was it last night? Yeah, we heard a loud one. I'm just bringing it Yeah, to our attention.
Yeah, you can call again if you hear that. Most times it's hunters, but we can still check to make sure they have the proper permit if we do catch them coming out of the bushes. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Mahalo, HPD. Community in the room, anything for HPD? Community online, any hands? Seeing none. Mahalo, HPD. We're moving
night.
on in our agenda. Good night. To filling of vacancies on the board, we have one vacancy in Subdistrict 5 and one in Subdistrict 6. Is there anyone present tonight in person or online that would like to fill one of those vacancies? Seeing none, they remain open, and we encourage community to come please take part in the board. Moving on to city, state, and federal reports. First up, we have Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Jiro Sumata.
Aloha,
Aloha, mahalo,
Jiro
Jiro.
Sumata, Deputy Director at Department of Planning and Permitting. So I have a long report, so just bear with me. I'm going to read it, okay? So it might not be too interesting, but anyway. First one, restriping Kamehameha Highway. First, DFM restripe Kamehameha Highway from Hygienic Store to Likeleke Highway. Okay, restriping the city portion of Kamehameha Highway between Honda Windward to 47511 Kamehameha Highway is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2023. Let me do the other restripe. Restripe center line at Heiakea Pier entrance. Okay, restriping of that the highway near the pier entrance started on Monday, September 25th, and is expected to be completed by the end of October. Okay, let me back up. Fire hazard along Kamehameha Highway. Community is still waiting for the guinea grass on the road shoulders to be cut. DFM initiated service request 50712. DFM crews started cutting overgrowth along Kamehameha Highway on September 22nd and hope to complete by the end of this year. Purchase of the new articulating mower is still pending. Okay. Street signs on Lulani and Uakoko Street intersection. DFM initiated service request 570704. The replacement of street signs at the intersection of Lulani and Uakoko will be done when resources are available. Okay, this one is the settlement along Kamehameha Highway from the pier on the Makai side of Kamehameha Highway from the pier for 1 mile. There appears to be erosion or settlement on the Makai side. Cracking of the asphalt. Has there been an erosion study? The Department of Design and Construction is in the planning stages of rehabilitation of streets. This special, I guess this section is Unit 73C. It would include Kamehameha Highway between Heiakea Pier to Kahikili Highway. The Department of Design and Construction is currently in the process of conducting environmental assessment along the shoreway of Kamehameha Highway. Disposal of solar panels. Solar panels, this is ENV. Solar panels and PV batteries are considered hazardous waste. All hazardous waste will be assessed following a disaster. Hazardous waste will be separated from all other waste, and a city contractor will handle the collection and disposal of hazardous waste. Depending on the disaster event, hazardous waste may be temporarily sorted in lined or contained storage locations until it can be properly disposed of in accordance with rules and regulations. I don't know if that answered really the question. Individual community waste disposal. Oh, this is Antiraki's one. Desired that each island moke will be responsible for their own rubbish rather than have a landfill. Okay, City and County of Honolulu proposes processes most of the waste through its waste to energy facility H-Power. The city also recycles waste and sends more waste, mostly ash and residue from H-Power, to the Waimanalogan's landfill. There is also a privately owned and operated landfill that accepts construction and demolition debris. Due to the extremely limited availability of land and the efficiencies gained by centralizing waste processing operations, having multiple landfills within an island is not feasible for regular waste. Next one is use of recycled water at Honouliuli wastewater treatment plant. At the Honouliuli wastewater treatment plant, blue rocks are used in landscape areas. No grass, lawn, or plants, or minimal maintenance and no irrigation needed. We currently use R1 recycled water in place of potable water in processes for spray water at biofilter odor control systems, makeup water for polymer, and hose down spray water for cleaning process tanks. The new Honouliuli ENB Administrative Support Facility, currently under construction and scheduled to be completed in 2025, R1 water is used for irrigation of landscape areas and toilets. And BWS also chimed in. With regard to use of recycled water at Honouliuli wastewater treatment plant, the Honouliuli wastewater treatment receives R1 recycled water from the BWS recycled water facility. Fire hydrants along Kamehameha Highway between King Intermediate School and AF Pier. There are 20 fire hydrants on the highway. After the pier, for 1 mile, there are no fire hydrants. This is BWS's response. With regard to the fire hydrants on Kamehameha Highway, the Board of Water Supply Capital Projects Division has been consulted, and there is currently no water line replacement project scheduled for this portion of the water main along Kamehameha Highway. When this main is scheduled for replacement, additional fire hydrants will be installed to provide additional coverage. They didn't say when it's going to be. Anyway, Haiku stairs removal. What is the name of the contractor? EDC reported the construction contract has been issued to the Nakoa companies. The contractor is required in the construction contract to recycle or reuse the steel salvage from the demolition. Okay. Guardrail installation. When can the installation of guardrails on Kamehameha Highway between Mio Mio Loop and Lulani Street intersection be expected to begin? EDC replied, water-filled barriers were installed by DFM along the deteriorated guardrails on October 2nd, 2023, as an interim measure for public safety. An emergency project to replace the section of guardrail is currently in the final design phase and will proceed to construction as soon as possible. And then there's another place, 47-011 Kamehameha Highway. There is a section of roadway near this address that needs guardrail to protect motorists from driving off the severe drop-off. This location is within the limits of the future rehabilitation of streets. That's Unit 73C. This project is currently in the design phase. DTS evaluates city roadways to determine if guardrail installations are warranted. DDC will defer to DTS response. DTS response is they will conduct an investigation and inform the board of their findings by the end of the year. Okay, proposed guardrail to deter illegal parking near the pier. Okay, this is a long one. DTS response. DTS will conduct a site observation on a weekend and inform the board of their findings by the end of the year. However, under section 15-14.1A1, 5 orders of home, parking is prohibited on a sidewalk, which is defined under section 291C, that a portion of the street between the curb lines or the lateral lines of the roadway and the adjacent property, intended for pedestrian use. Signs are not required to be enforceable. So I think the original request was for enforcement, right, Antira? Right? Yeah. And what DTS said, the translation is, no need signs to enforce. That people are supposed to know already. And okay, so then now police responded. From September 29th to October 4th, District 4 officers monitor the area near Ahia State Park and the State Boat Harbor. No parking or speeding violations were observed. The unimproved sidewalk along Kamehameha Highway has been utilized as overflow parking during holidays and weekends due to the lack of parking at the harbor. Individuals have also been warned or cited for human habitation in vehicles parked adjacent to the highway. Speeding and parking on the shoulder jeopardizes the safety of pedestrians walking along and crossing the roadway. No parking signs and guardrails may deter illegal parking. Officers will continue to monitor the area to ensure safety of the community and take the appropriate enforcement action when violations are observed. That was the answer.
Are you apologizing or you
No,
got some more?
no, I guess
Okay.
I get a couple more, a few more. Okay, the crane at 47-083 Kamehameha Highway. There is a crane, this address, doing work. They have a building permit. Okay, so this is from DPP. As of October 10th, the DPP Building Inspection Section confirmed no new updates on the previous complaint inspected on September 18th. No crane was observed on the site. There is a building permit application, we have the permit number, for a new 2-story single-family dwelling structure, currently under review. However, the application may be a revision to a previously one done, but no building code violations were observed at this time. But in addition to that, IACA sent me a follow-up, and the building permit issuance branch, they noted that this needs to have a SMA, and no SMA has been filed with the LUPD department, another department, division that we have. So, and they have informed the applicant that this SMA is required. So it's going to be on hold until they do the SMA. Then kayak rental, so they asked for more time. We got a video, so they're looking at the video. But they have inspected it 3 times with no luck. Anyway, and then the abandoned house on the corner of Okana Road and Lani intersection, I need to get them the right address. They tried to find the intersection of Lulani Road and Okana Road, and there is no, they couldn't find it. Yeah, so it's Ahuiman. Okay, that's the end.
Hello, Jiro. All right, let's go to Auntie Rocky, then Mailani. Oh, Cliff, you have something or no? Okay. Okay, so we go Auntie Rocky, Mailani, Uncle Clifford, and then Uncle Ken, and then community.
Mahalo, that was a wonderful report. You did your job. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make a comment that you guys did a wonderful job on the, I must say that because we drove it tonight. It's really visible that we needed the lights. But of course, they didn't finish because we didn't put the crosswalk yet. There needs to be a crosswalk.
You're talking about the pier.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's dangerous. I live there. I see people dodging. I see the cars coming. People crossing from bus stop to get to the pier. So that's dangerous. You need a crosswalk. You know, automatically you see a crosswalk, you're gonna slow down and stop. That's one. And then another thing I have here is there's a sale coming up in Hiakia. Pu'umaele, that whole mountain was bought. I think over 1,000 acres was bought for $80,000 a few years ago. And you know, this speculation that one person selling to another person that's not even from here, because Japanese people bought the entire valley that only one dwelling could be built on. And I don't think that person knew. But this person bought this land that outlives on the foothills for $80,000. It's now on sale for $1,990,000. Again, you know, when is this kind of speculation going to stop? And this comes under the city because they're selling this property and how much profits he's making is because he only bought it for $80,000. Yet selling it for $1,900,000 so much dollars, knowing that you only can build one dwelling because of the zoning, preservation, conservation. Someone just told me they sent me a picture of it. The entire valley Pumayeli, that whole mountainside is being sold right now. It's on sale right now. And we know nobody here is going to buy it. $1 million. So it's go, again, we're going to have a foreigner buying that piece of property, and that's disgusting. Things like that got to stop. And I think that the city got to do something about it. So I'm going to let give somebody else a chance for that. Other notes, I'll bring it up later.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Mailani. Mahalo, Gino. My question is actually coming from a resident that actually lives on Kamehameha Highway, close to in between Mio Mio Loop and Lulani. It's before the beach parking. It's like a makeshift parking across from Lulani. They're the Kalahiki family. And directly in front of her house on Kamehameha Highway, where the plastic barriers are, there was always an opening for beach access. The family's concerned that that beach access opening is going to be closed with the new guardrail. They'd like for it to continue to stay open. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Mailani.
Uncle Cliff.
Yeah, getting back to that piece of land at Cam Highway 1, the one about the crane. That crane was in there only for 1 day service. 2 days. That was for only move the boulders down to the ocean. I'm pretty sure it's down by the ocean. Because when last month we had a meeting with DLNR, and I told them about this 2 places in Kaneohe Bay. Well, that place, the only way you can see them, you got to go by boat. That's the only way you can see them. And the other one is by further down the road. Looks like they're going to build a pier. Because they just finished the house. But you got to stop and get out of your car and look at it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on pier being built out there. But it's out of sight, out of mind. But you got to go with on boat. And, boat you can come all the way up to the property line.
Mahalo,
Okay.
Uncle Cliff. We're going to go to Uncle Dan, Hiyaka, and then Uncle Ken, back to Auntie Rocky, and then I'm going to go to community.
Jiro, just a short question. There's a debate among the people that I hang out with at the pier as to where the crosswalk is ultimately going to go. Could you find out where the crosswalk is going to be? Because they think the crosswalk is so that the homeless people can cross the street in the middle of the space between. Or is the crosswalk going to go right in front of, the bus stop? Right?
Uncle Dan, Hiyaka.
Thanks, Jiro. Question regarding that property with the crane. I know you said that nothing was observed, but there is a pile of boulders there on the property that wasn't there previously. And you noted that there was no permit currently approved for that lot, only something under review. Maybe that's something that could be looked into.
There was an older permit from 2014, but there's no activity based on that.
And that
Except the
permit's
foundation.
still
It's still
good
open.
for use
It's still open.
for stockpiling?
Well, I don't think it's for stockpiling. It was for like but the 2014 that's a while ago.
Sure.
But anyway, I think it's for a single family house, but that's a 1-story. A new one is for a 2-story house.
Okay. Okay. But if they
But there's a pile of boulders, is what you're saying.
right without a permit. Yeah. Thank you.
So on that boulders there, I'm pretty sure that was part of the heiau was there previously.
It was a heiau.
There was once upon a time. You guys gotta go read the history about there.
Yeah.
It was a heiau, but nobody know.
Okay, mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Jiro, we can go into that site space a little bit more into depth after the meeting, but I'm going to go to Auntie Rocky right now.
Okay, just one more thing too, that because I did mention this to the city about a year ago, talking about the shoreline in Heiakea, the erosion. I brought it up to the city before that people were stealing rocks and taking it away from the highway, and it is and my grandchildren go across and they swim. My other son noticed that there's no rocks on the side again. So people is taking the rocks away from the highway. They're using it, I guess, for some kind of construction. And also, I reported about the homeless digging a barrel under the highway. It's like a cave, from the ocean side going in. I offered to walk with the city, and this has been over a year, and nobody came out yet, and that really needs to be looked at.
Okay,
Mahalo.
this is where you guys were talking about it's eroding
Yes.
or sloughing off from the
Yes.
pier for 1 mile.
Yes. I'm at the end of the stretch. But I'm living on city property.
It's easier to see all those things from the ocean, Jiro. We can try to coordinate something maybe. Okay. Going to Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken.
Deputy Director Sumana, mahalo nui, like 5 times nui loa for your effort. That was heroic. You did an amazing job. My constituent is extremely happy with the water-filled barriers on that hole plugging effort. And by the way, I also noted that the hole was plugged, but right now I don't think you have an ending that's safe. And so it's probably a good idea that it's blocked at this time, but be sure that there was a at least 10, maybe 15-foot opening there. And so I did just drive by this last weekend and witnessed it, as well as those beautiful double stripes down the middle of Kamehameha Highway between Hygienic Store and King's School, which I definitely verified, and the amazing effect it had on the parking. I went by at noon, and there were 2 or 3 trailers that were actually over the white line on the grass side, not the road side like it would normally be. And there were like 6 or 7 cars that were also parked on the proper side of the white lines. So as we discussed in our last meeting, your magic worked real well. And I just really want to thank you very much. And on behalf of my constituent, I want to thank you very much also. And the other work, keep it up. It's excellent. And they are correct. Unless you have a drone or some other means to fly, best way to get out is look at it from the water. And that one, I was going to bring up Rocky's tunnel under the road, but she caught it, as she does real well. Anyway, thank you very much. But that one could be a real problem for the road because you're damaging the support of the road. So, but thank you very much from my constituent and from me. And if I do become chair of the infrastructure committee again, then once that happens, you'll feel this extra thank you as the chair of the infrastructure committee.
Mahalo, Uncle Ken. Uncle Dan, and then we need to move on in the
A
agenda.
real short one. For a 2014 permit, if somebody files a permit, a building permit, and they die, they're gone. Does the permit still live on past them, or does it get taken out of the system? In other words, does that permit that 9 years
I think
old?
there's a limit, and we do have a deadbeat file, what we refer to as a deadbeat file, that if they don't continue the permit or claim the permit that's issued, that we contact the applicant and then we close it out. But this one, I don't know why it's still alive. So we'll double check.
Mahalo, Jiro. Community, is there anything for Jiro? Community online, anything for Jiro? Seeing none. Mahalo,
Okay,
Jiro.
thank you.
Moving on to Council Member Kia Aina. Esther, are you with us tonight? I think I see you there.
Aloha and good evening, everyone.
Aloha.
I was given Gerald's terrific performance. Can I have him just do all of the city reports for us moving forward? Okay. Hey, thank you, Gerald. Mine is really short. First, the city's grant and aids application for nonprofits organizations for fiscal 25 has begun. And Kim is going to put in the chat box the link that's necessary to look at all of the requirements and how to apply. The deadline for planning purposes would be Wednesday, November 22nd at 2 p.m. So if people could just take a look at that. And then lastly, as you know, the invasive species dialogue continues along the windward side. We had a little fire ant workshop in Kaneohe, as well as one in Lanikai last night for the little fire ants. And for part at the city, working closely with Councilmember Wire on how we could do what we can to kokua, although the state and federal are leads on invasives. One area where I hope we could kokua is that the Oahu Invasive Species Committee has asked for a base yard. And I know John Lapoon is looking at some parcels that he's already discussed with Laura Thielen from Parks and Rec in Waikane. But I have been in touch with DPR as well. So we are also looking potentially in Kahaluu. And I'm going to be doing a site visit. If anyone is interested, John will be there as well as Parks. We're going to meet at the Key Project on October 27th at 9 a.m. And of course, I'd like to see if we could increase funding, but I think more of the effort coming in spring will be to urge that the legislature double the amount of funding on agriculture with regard to invasive species management. And that's all I have for my report, everybody.
Mahalo, Esther. Board members, anything for Esther? Online? Oh, Uncle Cliff, you got something?
Yeah, I got one. In fact, just today, I just passed Ahuimano Christmas Tree Lane. The coconut tree, I think the beetles attacked that tree already. I mean, he's calling for help, more than help. And I told my wife, I think the beetles in Kahaluu already. The trees, that coconut tree look like the ones up at Wahewa, the Royal Palm Drive, all droopy. So I don't know, somebody got to climb up the tree and check.
Can we, I know Kim is online. Thank you. I'll follow up, but I also urge the community to ensure that they call their rapid response team. I'm utterly disgusted with the state's response up until now. When the CRB was found, as you know, it was through Hickam Air Force Base. They had an opportunity to control it in concert with DOD because they're actually allowing for some funding. They had a green waste process there. I actually went and visited several years ago. And since then, I heard from a lot of family members, it's all along the Waianae coast. And while it is not as widespread, I think we all have to be vigilant and do everything possible and not wait around for the state, but safeguard our own yards and communities. So thank you for flagging that for me. I think that the state, as well as the Department of Defense, who has actually provided money to the state's Department of Land and Natural Resources to their REPRI program to provide funding, but I think we need to get a better grapple. Again, I said last time that I was here, I am upset that the state strategy is no longer eradication on Oahu, but containment. Because of course the CRB that was found on Kauai was likely brought in from Oahu. So that's all, but thank you for bringing that to my attention. I think it's a very serious issue.
Mahalo, Esther. To Uncle Dan.
Esther, thank you for all your help. Last year at this time, we requested COVID ARPA money for ambulances, and it worked. We were congratulated during the budget hearings. Could you let us know, is there still COVID money available, ARPA money, in the city budget? And is it available to the neighborhood board for infrastructure projects that would increase neighborhood board participation and community action on all of the activities that we're planning?
Thank you. So let me answer that in two ways first. First off, with regard to ARPA funding, while there is funding, the bad news is because of the hazard pay for government employees, which have not been addressed yet, it is highly likely that for all projects that are not ready to go, including projects that were identified by council members, you are looking at potentially $100 million to take care of hazard pay. So the answer is yes, there is some funding left, but the likelihood of anybody, including council members, to be able to tap into that pot is not good. Second, with regard to funding I want to get a dollar amount if I can from you. And the reason for that is all of the council
10,000.
members are quite I'm sorry. What is a dollar amount for a budget?
10,000 would be more than fine.
Now, would you mean 10,000 per neighborhood board?
No, I think it should be in the neighborhood commission budget because we don't deal with money by charter. But
Okay,
when
but
it's
do you
in,
mean 10,000?
and we would
for
go
all
to ask them, any
Yes.
board could ask them. For a
No, I
private,
understand, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what my ask is because I need to let you know that all council members are trying to, they're empathetic. But $10,000, I don't know if it's going to be enough to go around for all of you. So I just wanted to know the collective amount, and I'm pretty sure that I could get my colleagues to support an amendment, even if the budget will be tight. The strategy, of course, is to always make it into the mayor's budget. So please work with Lloyd first to try to get in the mayor's budget. And if not, then I'm confident that the council members would collectively fight for a specified dollar amount for all neighborhood boards. So yes, the answer is we should COCOA, yes.
so you'll check that out for us for next time.
Well, no, I think you need to strategize, give us a dollar amount, and we need to fight for it, period. It's not about checking for it. Every year, the administration comes with a minimal amount, and I think collectively, you guys should be determining as neighborhood boards that is insufficient, for example. So I will find out what you got last year, but I'm thinking about 2025.
So we're thinking of upgrading the equipment, the projector, the modem, the router, everything that we use to get out to the
Yeah.
community. And
Okay.
we'd like that to be paid for, if possible, out of existing federal ARPA money because it was for infrastructure
Oh,
or general funds. In other words, there are two types of money. There's general funds and federal funds. And the federal funds still exist, and they're going to be for police overtime and all kinds of things like that. But we'd also like to tap into that in a small way to increase the effectiveness of our neighborhood board and all others for that matter.
okay. So I'm sorry. So to clarify, the likelihood of that happening is not good, but I will ask. Second, and Kim's writing this all down now, I will follow up to find out what kind of discretionary funds that they have, because we can just ask for Kahaluu because you're asking for it.
Mahalo, Esther. Community in
you.
the room, anything for Esther? Community online, anything for Esther? Mahalo, Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you.
I just wanted to remind community online, since we're hybrid here at Key again, whatever you're putting in the chat, I'm not seeing. So if you do want to be heard, please raise your hand so I can recognize you. Okay, moving on. Moving on to Councilmember Matt Wire. Do we have Councilmember Wire online?
I'm here for Councilmember Wire.
Oh, hi, Leitani.
Hi, aloha.
Go
Leitani
ahead.
here on behalf of Councilmember Matt Wire. First, I'd like to introduce our new community liaison, Mokihana Maldonado, who is there at Key Project right now. Some of you may have already met her at the Ka'ava Hau'ula DOT Town Hall, Swansea Beach, 2 weeks ago. Mokihana will be taking over the community issues kuleana for Ko'olaupoku and Ko'olauloa areas of our district. I'm still at council member's office, but I'll be focusing more on the policy side of things. So feel free to continue to reach out to me or Mokihana or both of us at the same time. Real quick, I'll mention Jiro reported on the guardrail, and then a board member, I believe, brought up a community member's concern regarding access to the ocean. I'll just note that this community member did contact our office, and so we did put in a riser request on her behalf, and that has been routed to the Department of Design and Construction. Moving on to just some quick legislative updates. Councilmember Wire introduced 3 resolutions as part of an emergency preparedness package, and this is in response to the events that went on Maui. He introduced Resolution 23239, co-introduced with Council Chair Tommy Waters. This resolution would initiate a charter amendment to add certain minimum qualifications for the Director of Emergency Management. This measure passed first reading last week and has been referred to the Committee on Executive Matters and Legislative Affairs. Councilmember introduced Resolution 23240, co-introduced with Budget Chair Radiant Cordero. This resolution requests City Administration to present annual budget recommendations that address long-term emergency preparedness. This would include things like prioritizing funding, collaborating with various agencies, and regularly updating emergency preparedness plans. This measure has been directly referred to the Budget Committee, which Councilmember Wire is vice chair of. And then finally, last resolution in this package is 23-241, co-introduced with Public Safety Chair Val Aquino Okimoto. This resolution urges the city administration to establish a working group to provide recommendations on long-term emergency preparedness within the context of residential housing. And so this group would comprise representatives from relevant city entities, building and trades experts, architects, engineers, and they would consider potential amendments to building, zoning, and housing codes to ensure that residential structures are resilient before, during, and after major events such as earthquakes, hurricanes, fires, and so forth. This measure has been directly referred to the Committee on Public Safety. All three of these measures reflect the Council's dedication to proactive planning and collaboration across various sectors, looking forward to address the challenges of the future. And with that, happy to take any community questions or concerns.
Mahalo Leitani. Auntie Rocky.
Yeah, I just brought up earlier to the city representative about the land sale in Heia and Kahaluu. I was looking on my phone now. I found it on my text. I have an address, and it consists of 130 plus 83 acres. And they had a tour of the area today. I don't know how to send this across, so maybe I can give it to your relations person, and she can send it to her phone and bring it to you guys for that information. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Any board members online have anything to add? Oh, go ahead, Mokiana.
Aloha, everyone. We also have a District 2 email sign-up list. So anyone online that would like to sign up, if you could just please put your email address in the chat, and then I can get that later. Okay?
Mahalo. Mahalo. Community in the room, anything for Councilmember Wire's office? Community online, anything for Councilmember Wire's office? Seeing none. Mahalo Leitani. Mahalo Mokihana. Moving on, Board of Water Supply. Barry, do we have you with us, Barry?
Yes. Hello,
Hi,
Chair,
Barry.
members.
Aloha.
Good evening. Let's see, just short announcements tonight. We had two main breaks to report on September 10th on Kamehameha Highway. The 6-inch cast iron, and it broke in two places on the same day. General water announcements is that we have a Imagine a Day Without Water activity. So we're inviting the public, and it's located at the, going to be a Saturday, October 21st at the Freshwater State Recreation Area in Wahiwa from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a joint activity that we have all our water partners there. More than 15 city, state, and community organization booths with interactive activities. Come to learn about the importance of One Water and the impacts of climate change today and in the future. And join us we'll have rain barrel and native seed workshops, a xeriscape plant craft activity, freshwater fishing activities, making Genki balls, a bioremediation that removes pollutants from soil and water, plus oral food, play games, and win small prizes. So for more information, please contact or visit our website at boardofwatersupply.com, One Water Hawaii. And that's the general announcement. I think I had a couple follow-ups. I don't know if Art is still there. He's asking about the fire hydrants on Kamehameha Highway, between, I guess, just past the pier there. I checked with our engineer. We don't have any projects for installation of fire hydrants there. The pipeline is very old, and that's where we had the two main breaks. So When that pipeline is replaced, fire hydrants will be installed. And then there was a follow-up from Rick. Rick, I emailed you about your question about the Waihe'i Place construction projects. It's still under design, and this construction is scheduled several years from now. But I sent you an email, so just following up. And that's my report for this evening, and I'm available for any questions if you have.
Mahalo, Barry. Uncle Dan.
Last time I asked you about the water bill, that shows 2,000 gallons as the lowest amount, and whether or not you could change that just to make a software change to encourage people who use less than 2,000 gallons a month so that, that water could be reclaimed. So you didn't take it seriously, but I was quite serious because we're always at 2,000, but you don't recognize 1,000 on the bill. And I wondered if you could get back to us at some point from your fiscal people as to why you couldn't do that, because it seems to me like a simple software change would garner a whole bunch of water at no cost.
Yeah, I did talk to folks here that are designing the rates schedule, and it's like $5, per 1,000 gallons. So anyway, our board will be passing along your comments to our finance guys and our rate study consultant. Our board is going to be considering a public hearing on the rate structure this board meeting in October, and they plan to put it on the agenda in our November board meeting. So, your comments are noted. So thank you.
Mahalo, Barry. Auntie Rocky.
Hello, Barry.
Hi there.
I recently got a meeting with Native Hawaiian practitioners, and we had the subject was the vai. You know how precious the vai is to everyone here on this island, and we know we've come to the conclusion in this time in our lifetime, in this era, that the vai most likely should be used a majority for the human consumption. So what I'm going to talk about is what's the process that we have to go through as community members to work together with the Board of Water Supply to get the Department of Health to work with recycling water. And I'm talking about waters that's being used to water golf courses, waters that's being used to water entire graveyards that can't be used with recyclable water. Because Native Hawaiian practitioners, and I'm talking about Native Hawaiian practitioners from every island that we met, is saying that the water is too precious now to be wasted on golf courses and graveyards, when lots of the water right now has been taken from farmers too. So, I mean, what process do we have to go to work together to make it work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in particular, well, the Department of Health has reuse guidelines that we follow. That's why we have a recycled water system in EVA that follows the DOH regulations. But if you're referring to, like, say, graveyards like Hawaii Memorial, they use a combination of potable, and they have a non-potable well that at Haliko interchange on Kahaluu Highway and H3 that they use for the veteran cemetery. Not sure if they have enough capacity to irrigate the entire cemetery, but we do have rules around if recycled water is available, that they have to use that in lieu of potable water. And we try to apply that as much as possible. DOH, I know, is in support of expanded reuse, and we've been looking at even on-site reuse for high-rise buildings in Honolulu. So certainly, and then the Marine base, they're not using recycled water right now on the golf course they used to, but they have new conditions by the Department of Health, so they have to like install some more improvements before they do. So until then, yeah, they're using potable water, and you know that means it's coming from our system. So we'd like them to go back on recycled water as fast as possible. We had talked to them numerous times on that. And they've tried to conserve in other areas, but unfortunately, it's going to take a couple of years. But yeah, thanks for the comment.
I'm talking about that because I recently toured the Kakao EV farms, and I was appalled to see how the streams have dropped. Being born and raised in Heia, Hapua, and going there all my life, and I knew how the waters ran, and when I saw that water, I was appalled. Something has to be done, and we got to do it. I don't know what process we got to go through, but we got to work it together, because I think that food is more, and human consumption is more important than the golf course, and we don't want to take away from the Marines also. So something has to be done. And I'm the Ahamoku rep for the whole state of Hawaii, and this issue came up before Native Hawaiian practitioners all over. That
Right.
we got to start working together on how to conserve our Hawaii. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Community in the room, anything for Barry? Community online, anything for Barry? Seeing none. Mahalo, Barry.
Oh.
Moving on in our agenda, Governor Josh Green's
Sorry,
office.
my hand is up. This is
Yes.
Melody.
Oh, sorry, Melody. Go ahead.
Yeah.
For Barry, Melody.
Okay, thank you. Yes, for Barry.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Barry's your last comment is one thing, but I also have another question for you. When you said recycled water for high-rise buildings, what do you mean by that?
It's a gray water reuse. So a couple ways. One is stormwater capture. There's a couple of buildings in Kakako that has directs their rain gutters to some cisterns that are on site that they use to irrigate the potted landscaping. But I'm aware of 2 high-rise projects where they are taking gray water, so that's laundry water and shower water, and filtering it and pumping it back to within the building, portions of the building for toilet flushing. So that's the kind of on-site reuse that I know the Department of Health, as well as Hawaii Community Foundation and us are in support of. And so they're trying it out. It's highly regulated, but it's a good use of water that otherwise would just go into the wastewater system. So if that's successful, then that could be a model for other high-rise buildings.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And I'm also in accord with what Auntie Rocky was saying. When it comes to agriculture, we really need to use a potable water for agriculture instead of recycled water, and that recycled water should be used as noted for golf courses and Hawaiian Memorial Park. I know the Veterans Cemetery is using recycled water. Okay, but now to my question to you, Barry. We've all got the notice that Board of Water Supply is in the process of increasing the water rates 50% in the next 5 years. So, and I believe comments are going to be taken until the 15th, Sunday, regarding the increase in water rates. But
That's right.
my question is one of the factors leading to the Board of Water Supply's decision to increase our water is attributable to the spills at Red Hill, causing the extension of infrastructure as well as multiple monitoring wells needs to be built. So my question to you is, of the 50% increase in 5 years, how much of that is attributable to the Navy's negligence, I suppose, of handling of Red Hill and the spills?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. It's not insignificant. We had to replace I believe about 15, it's between 13 and 17. I forget what million gallons of capacity that's lost because we had to shut down Halawa Chef and Aya and Halawa Wells.
Right.
And then we have to then replace them because we don't know when, I know they are defueling this I think this week, but
Yes.
you have to remediate the contamination, and until that happens, we won't be able to turn it on, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to turn it on. So that's why we're using, we need to replace it because we're kind of thin on capacity. So it's those types of costs. I think the manager had floated some costs so in the range of and I need to probably check on this, but it was over $100 million.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, if you could provide me with that information, because I'm one of the 10 that were elected for the CRI, the Community Representation Initiative under the EPA AOC 2023 AOC. So I have brought that up at our last meeting to Bob Thompson, who is the Assistant Secretary of the Navy. So he's aware. I told him it's unfair that the community has to bear this cost and that the Navy should pay for this cost. And he said he would take that back to the Pentagon, but I just need to know, I guess, a round figure or approximation of how much they should budget to cover that, because it really is not something that the community should have to bear, especially with already our high cost of living.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you,
Thank you for
Barry.
the comment. I'll get back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Melody. Mahalo, Barry.
I get one for Barry.
Okay, Uncle Cliff, make it quick, please. We got to move on.
Yeah, Barry. I got to thinking about, they designing the Aloha Stadium. Where they gonna send all that wastewater? In a Halawa stream, like they still do?
Oh,
Because all the water runoff is heading to the stream.
yeah. My understanding there, Cliff, is that there's not enough sewer capacity for the Aloha Stadium redevelopment. And so they are, last I talked to Chris Kinimaka at Accounting General Services, DAGS, yeah, that they're constructing on a wastewater treatment system that will produce recycled water and for them to use on that redevelopment. And then they were also asking us if they could connect to our Kalawao non-potable system, which is right, alongside too. So, but yeah, they are going to be reusing at that development. It's going to be big,
Yeah.
and there's not enough sewer capacity, so they got to build their own.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that parking over there will be, I don't know how many acres. It's all flat. So the water all go run one way.
Yeah, right into the
Make
stream.
them catchment, and then, because I've seen that Halawa stream on big rain is almost level to the top.
Wow.
Water is rushing down from the mountain, and with that Halawa parking, as Pearl Harbor get all of no more oysters and clams anymore because all contaminated, all
Mahalo,
polluted.
Uncle Cliff.
That's all.
Mahalo, Barry.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Moving on to Governor Josh Green's office. Do we have Scott with us? Scott Murakami.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Please go
Hello,
ahead.
Chair. Hello, Chair. Hello, members. Let's see. So, from the governor's office, the focus for the administration remains on support for the wildfire victims in Maui. The governor would like to extend his sincere appreciation for all of the support and aloha that the community has shown for our friends, family, and neighbors on Maui who were impacted by the wildfires. October marked the start of the shift into recovery, and Hawaii Tourism Authority has uploaded resources on their website for visitors who are going to Maui and how they can visit responsibly and respectfully of the community. There are also resources there for employees, businesses, and the community as well. You can find it at hawaiitourismauthority.org, and it's right on the landing page a big section that says Maui Recovery. The focus is really on making sure that we're providing the assistance for Maui residents to apply for the maximum amount of federal benefits that they can receive to support themselves and their families. We're also looking on or focused on finding long-term housing solutions for Maui's residents who are displaced by the fire. And currently, HAIMA remains fully activated. FEMA is on the ground on Maui, working with the state, county, and community organizations and the Red Cross. Let's see. And they're all assisting with the recovery and housing solution. I'm sorry I was absent last month and in August, but happy to answer or take back any questions that folks may have.
Mahalo, Scott. Board members in the room? Uncle Ken?
Yeah, a few months ago, I asked you on behalf of constituent Clifford Wong about the water buffalo problem, in which the state has got regulations that do not support the traditional use of water buffalo. And so if those who have water buffaloes follow the Department of Agriculture standards, there will be no more traditional water buffalo in the state. And we have a situation now where a calf is getting very close to being too old to be trained in the traditional manner. And we're not hearing back from the state on this issue. I asked them to make one more outreach and have gotten nowhere. I'd be really appreciated if you could check on what's happening with the water buffalo problem with the Department of Agriculture.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that coming up before, Ken. So thank you for bringing it up. And I apologize that they haven't gotten back to you. But from what I understood, there was a request for some additional information on the reason the buffalo needed to be weaned from the mother. Does that sound familiar?
Well, there is a method in which the weaning takes place while they're being trained to pull the plow in the field. And there are a bunch of other husbandry issues that all have to be done in context. And also it has to be done in a wetland setting.
Uncle Ken, this information seems like it could be lengthy. And for the sake of the board and community in this meeting, could you put this together in an email and send it to Scott and CC myself as well, please? Or sorry, NCO, to the Sunshine Law.
That was it. Oddly enough, that was it. I squeezed it in as much as I could. So that's all. And he has our contact information. I'll send him an email if he has any further questions. Thank you very much.
I would appreciate that, Ken. That would help me a lot if you could send that in an email. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo, Scott. Community in the room, anything for Gov's office? Community online, anything for Gov's office? I'm seeing no hands. Okay, moving on. Thank you so much, Scott, for being with us tonight. Senator Brenton Awa, are you online with us?
So I'm going to recuse myself from the board at this time to give the report from Senator Brenton Awa's office. Senator is still recovering from knee surgery, so he wasn't able to be here this evening. Just a couple of quick things. I'm sure you folks are aware of the Dillingham water being saved. So that's 12 million gallons a year that was saved at the Dillingham airfield, also known as Kauai Hapai airfield. And so Senator is hoping to sort of take that scenario and transfer that over to the water situation at Marine Corps Base Hawaii, where they're trying to get their R2 water permit approved by the Department of Health. So we are in contact with the governor's office, and they are working on trying to work with Kathleen Ho of Department of Health to see what can be done about pushing forward that R2 water use at the Kipler Golf Course. Yes, and I will open it up for questions.
board members, any questions for Member Jardine? Sorry, not Member Jardine, for Senator Brenton Wa's office. Uncle Dan?
Last time, the senator suggested that he wanted to put ulu trees along the Kahului Highway. And I was wondering how many and how they would be maintained. I think it's a splendid idea. There is one ulu tree there now, so you can get an idea of what it would look like if there were, many. But I think it's a great idea. Is anything happening with that?
Yeah, so we're still in the planning phases. We are going to do a site visit this Friday with some community members and organizations to kind of plan out those longevity components to the project, considering adding some additional vegetation, which would kind of add as a buffer to protect the ulu trees long term, protect against pests, and those kind of things. And it's just going to be a matter of measuring out the entire length of the area, considering the tree span of a full-grown ulu tree, and then spacing it out according to that. Yeah, mahalo.
Any other board members in the room? Uncle Ken?
Yeah, there is a problem in that area, and I tried to get it solved earlier, but was unable to do so. The middle no vending sign on the tall grass mauka of that, there are 5 bags and a couple of random items that are still there. I was hoping to get them picked up. While you're doing a site visit, if you can look at it and see if something could be done, I'd really appreciate it. Mahalo.
For sure. Thank you.
Community in the room, anything for Senator Brenton Awa's office? Community online? Seeing none. Mahalo Hi'iaka, would you like to reinstate yourself as a board member?
I'd like to reinstate myself as a board member.
Mahalo. So reinstated. Moving on in our agenda to Representative Lisa Kitagawa's office. Rep Kitagawa, do we have you with us tonight? Or Jen? Okay. We'll circle back to Rep Kitagawa's office if she comes on later. Moving on to Windward Community College. Artist Eschenberg, how are you?
Aloha, Chair. Good evening. Thank you to the neighborhood board. I have a couple of quick updates. The first is I want to thank the community for making our gala such a success. In one evening, between tables and seats and silent auction items, we raised $90,000 towards our scholarship endowment, which is really amazing. It's more than double what we had in the scholarship endowment at the beginning of the year when we began this drive in one night. So thank you. And we're continuing our drive. We're at about $750,000 of the $1 million in scholarships we had set as a goal to raise for our 50th. And so we'll be continuing through December to hopefully make it closer to that $1 million, which was just a pipe dream anyway, so I'm super thankful. And then I wanted to share another kind of dream that came true this past month. Excuse my dog, he's mean and very little if you hear him barking. He is mean, stop. So anyway, about 2 months ago and last year, we talked about our incarcerated program, how Windward was the only college offering, stop it, sorry about that, significant college credit to incarcerated students at Women's Community Correctional Center, Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, and Halawa Correctional Facility. We're actually hoping to add Waiawa into our portfolio this year as well. However, our grants were ending and the legislature chose not to, or the legislature did not fund our bills, although they made it all the way to the final cattle call. They weren't given funding for the 3 positions. So we were kind of falling apart. We got a little bit of money here and there that we had kind of kept things together till January of this year. And a week and a half ago, we received a grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which falls under the Department of Justice, which allowed us to continue our Pell Initiative for incarcerated students. and provides coordination for that. And then 2 days later, we got a grant from Native Hawaiian education programs through the U.S. Department of Education, which has allowed for our full implementation of our program. So they're not permanent positions, but we're not falling apart, and that program is continuing. And I really want to thank our community because you provided such strong advocacy last year for our bills and for these initiatives, which unfortunately, wrongly, I don't even know the appropriate adverb to add, impact those from lower income and Native Hawaiian backgrounds more adversely than any other ethnicity and background economic group in the state. They're really important for us to nurture a healthy community and help all of our ohana to succeed within our Pai'aina. So I wanted to really thank you guys, share some really great news, not anything depressing and no begging or asking this time. And then just thank you all. Mahalo.
Mahalo, artists. Board members, anything for artists? Community, anything for artists in the room or online? Seeing none. Mahalo, artists. Such good news. Thank you so much. Moving on to Cliff, Kaneohe Bay Regional Council. Auntie Rocky, you got anything? Rico, you want to say something? Any updates for Kaneohe Bay Regional Council? Auntie Rocky, microphone so I can hear you, please. Thank you.
I can say that I do attend their meetings. The next meeting is November 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. and it's done hybrid also. And this Saturday I'm not sure if it's from 8 to 9 a.m. to noon, they're going to have the Makai Watch. Is going to be working with the Department of Land and Natural Resources. They have a group, and then I think they're still looking for volunteers to volunteer with them. So if you're interested, you can go to the Heiakia Pier. And Christy, you guys are going to be there too, right? So would you like to give, maybe when you get to the community section, Christy can give you more information, because I will not be there this Saturday because I have another commitment. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Any questions, community, for Kaneohe Bay Regional Council? Seeing none. Moving on to Heiakia Pier Small Boat Harbor. Tanya Bora Bora. Tanya, are you with us online? Okay, seeing none. Uncle Dan, you have something to add right now?
So I went to speak to her and invite her to our meeting because she does a lot of good things. And I mentioned that knowing what's going on here is going to help her do her job, etc. She said that nobody in her level of position comes to the neighborhood board, that we should have her supervisor come. I don't know how we go about doing that, but it's really important because there's, she's doing wonderful stuff. She crunched up a boat that was picked up off the bottom of the, of the bay. And she's a very nice person. She's very effective, but I think she would prefer to have her supervisor come.
Okay, we can look into finding out who that is and how to get in touch with them. Mahalo, Uncle Dan. Auntie Rocky.
I guess there's something else too that was a big discussion at the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council was the illegal commercial businesses that is getting way, way out of hand. You go down weekends, you see it. And we talked to Tanya about coming to the meeting. She didn't come, but I've got to say, there was two harbor masters before Tanya came on. Earl came to every single one of our meetings, and he was really effective. And he was one that took no nonsense, no illegal businesses. He would go on his jet skis and follow boats around, tell them you're illegal, or you parking, move your boat out of the way. Or if your car is parked illegally, he would also mention it. So he was on top of it. But anyway, they're clamping down on the illegal commercial businesses because I look now, I see more of those pontoon boats, way more. In fact, somebody took account of it and said there's over 100 in Kaneohe right now. That's illegal businesses. I know the people sit at the top of the pier, they can see it, but nobody says anything. But you can sit at home and say nothing. But actions works, better than words. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Okay. Auntie Christy, can you come up to the mic, please?
Hi, good evening. So I will speak a little bit more on the Makai Watch. At the last Makai Watch meeting that we had when we gathered on a weekday, one of the private boat, I'm sorry, tourist boats that is legal, not the glass bottom, which one is it called? Anyway, to the point, they counted on a Saturday 80 private boats at the sandbar. And their point and everybody's point for the Mackay Watch is just the excessive use. And I think if we, going back to Chair Rocky's, or not Chair Rocky's, but Board Member Rocky's comment, it's just the overuse and like they did for Molokini, everybody has to have a permit in order to even utilize that area, like the state parks that might cut into just regular recreational use. Tanya is a great resource. I think she doesn't come also to the board meetings because she may have some conflict with her supervisor, but perhaps maybe if the board requests to the supervisor for her to come, she is a world of knowledge and very supportive of everything that goes on down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Rocky.
I think at the next meeting, we should ask Ed Underwood to come himself.
Okay. So I will send out a request for that.
That's the head of the harbors.
Do you have,
If harbors is out of control, he has no control of it, then
Okay.
he should be here to give us an explanation of it.
Do you have his direct contact, Auntie Rocky?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll get it from you after the meeting then.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Okay, moving on to U.S. Congress Representative Jill Tokura's office. Do we have anyone from Jill Tokura's office?
Yes, hi Chair. My name is
Hi.
Telesia. I'm from Rep Takuta's office. She unfortunately couldn't make it because she's in DC right now. But just some quick announcements from our office. So we have the military nomination deadline coming up. From our office, it's on October 16th. Our office sent out letters from Rep Takuta's office throughout the 2nd Congressional District to all the schools. We're just making sure that everyone knows that the deadline is coming up next week, Monday. And similarly, the Congressional App Challenge that our office is hosting, it has a deadline coming up on November 1st. There were letters that were also sent out to schools, so just want to put it out there for the board to know. And then our office will also be sending out a detailed October monthly report regarding Rep Takuta's actions. If you want to stay connected to her updates, you can go ahead and go to her website, which is takuta.house.gov. Or you can call our office at 808-746-6220. Thank you.
Thank you, Telesia. Any board members have anything for Rep Tokura's office? Seeing none. Community? Seeing none. Mahalo again for being with us. Moving on to Kahaluu MCBH, Gunnery Sergeant Orlando Perez. Or Auntie Christie. Thank you.
Hi. Good evening. So I just wanted to share a little bit about our pond experience, and I'm really glad that Mailani was able to come with us this past Saturday. We had our very first work day, 19 people in total. We had our archaeologist, June Cleghorn, who was there with us, and 2 of our Comstrat individuals who take pictures and document. So we'll have some really good pictures coming out that we'll be able to show you. We were able to clear away vegetation, pickleweed from probably about a good, what would you say, Mailani, about 30 feet? About, yeah. And it's such a good opportunity, even the keiki can come and participate. So it's a good area that this is totally possible. We had a little bit of time after our work to discuss ways ahead and things that we could do to improve our time there. It's very rural. In other words, there's no facilities, comfort facilities. So we have to bring in everything. So these are things that we'll be looking to better provide so that more people could come and participate. And that's all that I am going to share. But I do have one of our other, our deputy director for our planning department, and he has some very exciting things to share.
Thank you, Christy. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us here tonight. My name is Bob Piasecki. I am as Christy said, I'm the Deputy Director for Installations and Logistics on NCBH. And real quick, I'll make this fast because I know we're trying to wrap up, but what I wanted to talk about was an initiative that BASE is trying to do in the near future, which the public will become aware of, but it is targeted towards the goal of our energy resiliency for the installation. As many of us know, there's kind of a significant point of failure in power distribution to the windward side from HECO distribution, and that is over the Ko'olau Mountains. This has been a point of concern for the base for a while, as it is for the community also, and especially recent events that we've seen, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico and typhoons in Guam, and then most recently in Maui. We've seen kind of what the outcome can be when there is no redundancy of power distribution to a local region such as the windward side. So with that in mind, Marine Corps Base Hawaii are going to be sending out very soon, I think about the end of next week, we're going to be sending out what's called a request for information to industry and to developers. It's going to go out on a public government contracting website, and this is with the goal of inviting industry and developers to look at our problem set on the base with energy production and power resiliency, and see how we can maybe use the base's resources, land, and current technologies to hopefully come up with some ideas that will allow renewable or firm generation or solar or some of those new technologies that might help provide the power demand for the base in turn, or in the event of a prolonged outage. But also one of the criteria that we're looking at as we evaluate some of these industry ideas is how some of those technologies and such a project might also support the critical power resiliency and those requirements for the surrounding communities. So we've specifically included in that request for information some verbiage where they have to, any developers or industry subject matter experts would need to explain how their ideas might also support the surrounding community. So we're really excited about that. Again, this will be coming out on, it'll be public domain here in the next couple of weeks, maybe by the end of next week. And when that happens, on sam.gov, used to be FedBizOps, but you'll be able to go on and see kind of what we're asking for in terms of support from industry as we kind of work on creating greater energy resiliency for the windward side. Looking forward to it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mahalo, Bob. Board members, anything for Bob? Uncle Cliff, you got something?
Yeah. How would you post wind farm? You folks got one out in a bay, not in a bay, on the outside. You guys get on.
Yeah, Marine Corps Base Hawaii doesn't have anything to do with that. I've seen some ideas, and you know, that's something we're not involved with. And as we look at technologies that might help provide energy security and resiliency on the base, I would say wind is at the very bottom of that list, frankly, because it just doesn't have good applications.
I think that was on the wave action. You know, the wave action.
You said wave. I thought you said wind.
No, I said wind, but now he said
okay, yeah.
It was a wind.
So you're referring to the wave energy test site, and that is still an experimental project led by a different part of the Navy, and it frequently comes up in this kind of forum as a question, and when we start talking about renewable energy. But unfortunately, that technology is still in its infancy, and it also really just produces a very small amount of energy, smaller than one might think. And so the applications that they're looking at where that might be employed are on much smaller scale than what we're looking to achieve to support an entire military installation and surrounding community.
Yeah, because I think like other countries, they got wind farm out
Okay,
in the ocean.
mahalo, Uncle Cliff. We're gonna go to Auntie Rocky because they don't have anything with the wind farms. Rocky.
Hello, and first of all, I'd like to thank the Marine Corps Air Station for Nahupia Fish Pond, the memorandum of understanding, because actually for the community's information, it took almost 50 years, I think approximately 47 and a half years, when my husband, myself, and I don't know if the Kahaluu people remember Randy Kalahiki, met with almost every single commander in the last 47 years, and it finally became a reality, working with the community in restoring the Nahupia Fish Pond. For that, I commend the Marine base for that. And Clifford also mentioned about the WAVE project, and I know it's still in the process of you guys checking this. It's just a pilot project, but if it does become a good project, and I'm hoping that they would share that extra energy with the community, and not only for using it for the Marine Corps Hawaii, because the surrounding community can use that energy also. And I hope it is a success that we can all use it. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Uncle Dan.
During Hurricane Iniki, it was proposed that a nuclear submarine could be used to provide energy to the island of Kauai because all of the power went out. You folks have many nuclear submarines here, and they're extremely
not the Marine
powerful.
Corps.
Well, the Navy and the Marine Corps, they're related, I understand. But is it possible, is it feasible to use a nuclear submarine's energy to power a community and then, should there be a catastrophic power loss?
I would like to think so, but that is well outside of my wheelhouse. I've heard of nuclear subs. I've never been on one, so can't really speak to that. I'm sorry.
Mahalo, Uncle Dan. Community, anything for MCBH?
I do want to add that this initiative I was talking about that we're looking at, we've been working in close coordination with Public Utilities Commission and the City and County Office of Resiliency. And so we're looking forward to them being kind of close stakeholders and advocates and advisors as we go on this journey.
Mahalo, Bob.
Thanks everyone for your time.
Mahalo. Moving on to community topics, we have the Waihole Albizia update. Member Rapun is not here. I'm going to do I have a motion to defer the measure? Any abstentions? Okay, so we'll defer this measure by way of not of Albizia specifically, but all invasives, and that will be for our November meeting. Moving on to residents and community concerns, we have several. I'm going to pass it to Member Jardine and also to Community Member Ward regarding the illegal kayak rentals on Iu Street. I'll start with Member Jardine and then go to Community Member Ward.
Thanks, Chair. Okay, so I'm just giving the update for Member Jarrett Machado, who's unable to be here this evening. He did send me a video of the illegal kayaking rental business on Iu Street, which I did send to Jiro, and he's working on, but just wanted to share that on his behalf. Secondly, our board did receive a letter from the Department of Planning and Permitting. This is regarding the continued public hearing for Kualoa Ranch's permit. This is regarding a special use permit, which would allow the display and sales of non-agricultural products with accessory parking at the ranch headquarters, vehicle staging for a movie exhibit, and the allowance of weddings and private events at ranch headquarters, and Paliku Gardens within the State Land Use Agricultural District. The proposed SUP is intended to supersede the existing 85/SUP-2. And this is happening Wednesday, October 18th at 9 a.m. in person at Mission Memorial Auditorium and remotely. And to kind of get all of this information, there was a website. Yes, so it's going to be www.honolulu.gov/dpp/public-input.html.
Oh, Mahalo, Member Jardine. Ward, are you with us online still? I saw you earlier. Did you want to say anything in regards to Iu?
hoping that maybe, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't know if that letter I sent you guys printed out or not, but maybe we could put it on the agenda for next month.
Yes, I have it
hoping
on
that
the agenda for next month.
perhaps the board, Department of Planning and Permitting, and DoCare or DLNR could all get together and collectively send a cease and desist letter on official letterhead to that illegal kayak operations, so that we've at least put her on notice that she's on the radar and she shouldn't be doing what she's doing. We had that new law that got put into effect not too long ago. We might as well use her as a test case. And a cease and desist letter doesn't cost anything.
Mahalo, Ward. Jiro is here, so I think Jiro can look into that. Or what
Just an
possibilities
idea.
are. Okay.
I
Mahalo,
know
Ward.
Oni and you guys have been talking about this problem for quite a while. Rocky's well aware of it. The whole neighborhood's been up in arms. It's just another idea that, maybe something else that we could throw at her.
Sounds good. Mahalo. I have
Thank you.
another community concern regarding Lainani Park closure hours, and there's some communication between community and DPR. I invite those community members and or DPR to please join us. Oh, sorry, hand up. Who do I have hand up here? Lily, please go ahead.
Hi, I actually wanted to comment on the Kualoa SUP, so I can wait if that's more appropriate.
No, that's totally fine. That was the end of my statement there about Lainani Park hours. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment on the notification about the Planning Commission hearing. So there was a hearing in March, and I think one of the issues that folks might want to look at a little closer is regarding the private weddings and private events. So those are actually unpermitted and have been unpermitted for decades. I think most of us have all attended a wedding at Kualoa, if not multiple weddings. And I think stopping weddings and private events is not at all a concern of mine, but I think it is important that there be some limitations. I've included some info in the chat box of where you can actually review the SUP application, the special use permit application, which Kualoa Ranch does not actually disclose all of the locations. They only disclose 2 locations, one Paliku Gardens and then the Ranch House Pavilion, which are both at headquarters. They've removed Moli'i Gardens from their application. And they also don't disclose sites like Low Camp in the Valley and a handful of other locations. And those are pretty common. I think it's common for folks who've lived in the area that there might be 4 or 5 events taking place every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, especially during the peak times. The Planning Commission meeting in March, the Planning Commission themselves, the director's report recommended that they have no more than 1 wedding or private event per day and no more than 6 per week. And that was met with quite a bit of resistance from Kualoa Ranch. I think if folks are concerned at having some limitations on how many functions, how many events, how loud it is, and how late that goes in that area, it would be a good opportunity to kind of voice your opinion. Written testimonies can be submitted up until the close of the meeting itself, and folks can provide oral or virtual testimony so long as they request so 24 hours in advance. So that's all.
Mahalo, Lily. Can you come up to the mic, please, and state your name? Mahalo.
Paul Freese, community member. You just mentioned that the
that's
email
you.
exchange
Okay, thanks,
regarding
Paul.
Lainani Park. I'm still working with DPR via email and phone calls, trying to hash that out. But basically, they changed the park sign hours without communication to anyone in the neighborhood or in the community. So I'm trying to work that out with them. But if it doesn't work out there, I think we'll have to bring it. Thank you.
Okay, Mahalo. I will put that on the agenda for next meeting just so we can go over the information as a board in total to avoid any sunshine violations if it's not resolved by then. Okay? Mahalo. Auntie Rocky.
Yeah, I have other meetings and other community events and agency meetings that I go to, but I think the time has come that we should have a community meeting, an open community meeting, maybe not this month, but it should be ahead of time, maybe December, January, that maybe in the Bahia State Park, because we used to have big meetings. I remember we had like some meetings, we had over 200 people at those meetings when we had big issues like fishing. I think that all the state facilities that's being abused by the community, not only the illegal people, but the speculation of using our resources um, should be done in the state, one of the state facilities. And all of the city facilities that's being abused should be done in one of the city facilities. And we should have a big public meeting to discuss all of our resources that's been exploited. It's come to the limit now because this has been discussed statewide, not only here in our community, but we need to discuss it because the community is getting mad. And I talked to some of my constituents in my area. They want to throw blows already. They're so disgusted with what's happening. So we got to do something about it. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. We can lump that conversation in with the DPR conversation, park closure hours next meeting. Uncle Dan?
For next time, I was just curious to know what the community would like the closing hours to be. I read through all the documents and emails, but I didn't get a sense that the community is, interested in a later or an earlier closing. So when you come back next time, see if you can get some of the neighbors to figure out what they would like us to recommend. That way we can quickly go through it and give you some help.
Mahalo, Paul. Uncle Dan, from my understanding, they'd like the park to close earlier because the contractor is having a hard time closing the park at even the later time now. It's going beyond. So we'll get into that at that point. Auntie Rocky?
Basically, yeah, what just happened was they had changed the park hours. It was always 9 p.m. since, I don't know, early, at least as far back as I think 2007, probably earlier. And somebody from DPR had the signs changed to be 10 p.m. So that's what it was. So that's going to be the topic. Yeah. So it's what it's always been until DPR changed the signs recently. Yeah. Yeah.
Mahalo. Are there any other community concerns, Uncle Rick?
Sorry, I got detained by an earlier meeting, but this probably got covered earlier. But Jiro, I wanted to thank you so much for all your efforts. Ahuimana Road is clean. They picked up all the tires and all the rubbish. Our community should be ashamed because this rubbish comes from this community. But at any rate, that got done, and the striping got done on Kamehameha Highway, and the little yellow reflectors. So you the man, you're getting it done. Really, really appreciate it. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Uncle Rick. Mahalo, Jiro. If there are no other community concerns, we're going to move on in our agenda. I'm seeing no hands in the room or online. Moving on to board business. We want to recognize our previous NCO partner, Akiona. He's no longer with us. He's moved on. We miss him so much. We wish you were here in person so we could hug you, give you a lei because you departed sooner than we thought. I just want to go around. Any board members have anything specific that they'd like to share with partner Uncle Cliff?
Yeah, let's get back to the city one. We were just talking about that. They would pick up all our trash. What they could do is trim all the.
Uncle Cliff, we're already moving on. We're talking about partner Akiona. Remember partner Uncle Cliff? Before too much time passed, we wanted partner to be able to be here in person, but he has his keiki at home. And I didn't want it to go into November and holidays and things without us recognizing him. Partner, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate everything you did here with us, the years you spent with us. Mahalo. Auntie Rocky.
I commend him and thank you very much because he has children that he has to leave. And remember, and his wife was just having another baby and he had to leave and come to represent the community. But you did a good job. Mahalo.
Uncle Rick.
Mahalo, partner. Really, really appreciate your effort. You really went one cut above in helping us and always provided the information and all of that ahead of time. Really, really appreciate your help. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui, partner. You always were there, so responsive every single time. You always answered my questions. You always helped me be a better board member. Mahalo.
Uncle Ken.
I'm all partner. Appreciate all the services you provided for us. And I'm sorry I bugged you so much. And you did a very good job handling me. So anyway, I just want you to know I appreciate it. Okay. You take care. Good luck with the rest of your efforts. Mahalo.
Mahalo for sitting with us one more time, partner. Sorry we had you at the end, but we just wanted to keep you with us just a little bit longer.
It's no problem, Chair. I saw it and my first thought was she did this on purpose.
I did.
I know you
did.
I know you
I
did.
did.
But working with you guys, I did learn a lot. And I thank all of you guys, Jesse, Hiiaka, Auntie Rocky, Uncle John, even though he's not there, Uncle Rick, new board members like Spencer or Parker, and sorry, but in response to, I appreciate everybody's commendations, but in response, I was just doing my job. That's all it is. Just doing my job. But mahalo, everyone. I appreciate it.
Mahalo, partner. Okay, moving on in our agenda to the approval of Wednesday, September 13, 2023, regular meeting minutes. Meeting minutes are not available at this time. When they become available, we will go over them. Moving on to our meeting date, time, and location. So I know that there's some conversations about possibly moving to Ho'okano Hall, possibly Kahaluu Elementary, staying at Key in the current room, moving into a larger room at Key. Right now, I think we still don't have enough information unless anybody has come besides Hiiaka by way of Senator Awa's office for Kahaluu Elementary. So is there any objections to adding this item to our agenda for next meeting as well to follow
Good
up?
idea.
No objections? Okay, great. So we'll follow up on that next meeting. Creation of committees and chairs. Does anyone want to tackle this now? Any committees they want to propose? And anyone who would like to chair any of said potential proposed committees? Okay, we'll add that to. Oh, Uncle Ken, go for it.
We never stopped doing infrastructure, and we continue along. And if I've been acting, but I'm always acting. The point is that if we
acting up,
yeah, if we can just keep it going, either officially or acting again, we are not stopping. And we got to keep that talent that Jiro supplies for us going. He's fabulous. He's done a great job.
Okay, I'm going to recommend that we all come with a committee in mind that you would like to see us implement as a board and who your members of that committee would be and or recommendations for chairs for next meeting so we can get this out of the way. Although I do anticipate a heavy agenda next meeting, so like written out, ready to go would be preferable. And I'm good with you acting in your duties as of current, Uncle Ken. Mahalo.
Chair, if you could maybe list on the next agenda all of the previous committees,
okay,
even going back past last year, so that and then it's kind of a no-brainer to come up with something. Mahalo.
Will do. Okay, moving on to subject.
Can I? Yeah, you can even
real quick, Uncle Ken.
You could even distribute that to the board members so that we know what was previous, because we do have new board members who will have to weigh in on this.
Yes, okay. I will send that to NCO and ask NCO to forward that to you folks. Okay, moving on to sub-district reports. Sub-district 1, anything? Oh, sorry, no representatives from sub-district 1 here right now. Sub-district 2? None. Sub-district 3? None for me. Uncle Rick? Uncle Cliff, anything?
There's an explosion of dirt bikers trying to get through our place to the back of the valley, so I'm trying to block it all off with concrete barriers and that kind of thing. But if we could get the police to kind of step up the watch on that, would be appreciative. Thank you.
Hello, Uncle Rick. Sub-district 4, anything? Sub 5?
I got something, but I'm just going to recuse myself from the board for this one. I don't know if I should have done this earlier. Sorry. Excuse me if this is a little bit out of turn, but just wanted to give an update on the Kahaluu and Ohui Manu. We were taking down a lot of invasive trees a couple weeks ago, and so our plan is to bring in a green waste bin to take all of that vegetation that's sitting there on site. So for those that are wondering why it's there and how long it's going to be there, it'll be removed next month. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Any updates from Sub-District 6? Okay, excellent. Moving on in our agenda. Announcement, next regular board meeting is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. here at Key Project and online. I am adjourning. Oh,
sorry. One quick announcement. Sorry.
One quick announcement.
There's going to be a cleanup at Heia Pier, October 22nd from 7:30 a.m. I would assume till about lunch. I guess they're having people dive and pick up trash, that kind of thing. They're asking for you to bring gloves, hat, sunscreen, and water. And I have more information if you're interested.
Yeah, on that one. Tanya is bringing in the divers from the Marine base, I think.
Okay.
That's the same guys who do the cleaning the last time.
Oh, okay.
All the tires and everything.
Okay.
Oh, now
Mahalo.
she was saying those guys, they're looking for jobs.
Okay, mahalo, Uncle Cliff. I'm adjourning this meeting at 8:51. And if anybody needs an LFA kit, we have them here at the front. Mahalo, adjourned at 8:51.
Mahalo. Great meeting. Mahalo.
Riho.